Welcome back to our second video on restoring this Remington 742 carbine. In the last video we bead blasted this receiver, polished the barrel, and now we're going to come back to finishing off this receiver, which is probably the most difficult part of doing a Remington 742. Our belt sander is set up with 220 grit sandpaper. We're going to gently and carefully start to polish the sides with that 220 grit paper. So I wanted to get a shot. Just barely touched it on this belt. If you do it this way, a couple things to watch for. You notice we haven't sanded this edge at all. Hasn't been touched by the sanding belt. And we haven't touched this edge either. So that means we have a nice flat position on the belt. You can see where it's touching here and here and not in the middle. And that's probably a dish from the original factory manufacturer. But it doesn't take much. If you do it right, it can save you a lot of time. If you do it wrong, it can cost you a lot of money. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. You can see still, when they polished to the factory, they rounded that edge off. We haven't rounded that yet. There's just a little bit here where we haven't touched yet either, where they rounded it off. So very happy with how that side cleaned up. We'll give the other side a quick try. You can see we still have these dings up here, but we might be able to clean them up when we polish the top on the buffing wheels. So let's try the other side. Okay, this side's going to be the challenging one. As you can see, we're sanding here, a little bit of the top, a little bit of the bottom, and here we still haven't touched our serial number in here, and just barely touched a little bit here. So this area here is low, but it's also where there's a lot of pitting, so we might have to switch to hand sanding there. For now, I'm going to go to a 400 grit on the belt and see how we do. So I've swapped over to a pneumatic wheel with 600 grit so that I can have a little more control over where it's being polished. We're able to work out most of the issues back here, but like you can see in the video, we still have this pitting, and of course it's right around our important stuff. So we're going to slowly work in this area. And then when we're all done, we'll hand sand it all back to a similar grit. Okay, so we're able to work the pits out of the center and on the end, and we still say Remington on there, and we still say Woodmaster for the most part. A little bit of the D got cut off. Luckily, Remington is known for doing some light strikes, and that does happen sometimes. And this particular one was heavily struck on the bottom and pretty light on the top, which caused part of that. So you see this wave in here? That's from being on that pneumatic wheel. If I said you can mess up on that belt sander, that pneumatic wheel, you can really ruin one quick. But I expected that to happen, and we're gonna do some hand sanding, final hand sanding, to smooth that out and to make all of our scratches line up. Before I do that though, we're gonna go ahead and work on the round surfaces on this, starting back on the 150 grit. She's looking pretty good. We have some pits in here that we're going to file out, and these dings are still in here. We're going to file them out too, and then come back over to this wheel and polish her back up. How removing those things came out there. These other things in the front. One reason that I saved the final polish on the sides till after I do all the mechanical polishing of the buffing wheels is, you can see it kind of has a fuzzy edge here. That's where some whiskers from the muslin wheels hit this flat, and when mine are done, I like them to be completely flat. I don't want to see any of that fuzzy edges, and so final sanding it after putting more scratches in, after I finish the mechanical polishing with the buffing wheels, will give me that nice clean edge. So we've removed all the imperfections, and I'm going to go ahead and polish this through on the buffing wheels, and then we'll come back and do some hand sanding. You know, it's funny, I've had this magnetic chuck for a mini surface grinder that I have here in the shop for probably 20 years. Never used it because I never set up that mini surface grinder until about a month ago, when I figured out it's a great way to hold these receivers while you polish them. And it's so much better than trying to put it in the vise. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, this has been polished up to 400 grit, and in some places 600 grit on our pneumatic wheel. So I'm going to go with 400 grit paper, which is what I like to finish these sides off with. And I'm going to see if we can't get these waves out of here. I'm going to put a backer on it. Sometimes I use just a board. If there's a lot of movement in a receiver, I'll use a little square eraser. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll let you watch it fast forward. You know, this is the part of the job that I really like. When you're able to take something that has rust pits and it's ugly and to get it back to this condition, which is just honestly probably better than it left the factory. And the time that it takes that you put into this type of work is definitely self-gratifying. Very happy with this side. I'm going to flip it over. I put this piece of paper on here to protect so this won't get scratched. If there's any scratches in opposite direction that you have put on here, it shows up like a sore thumb after it's blued. And so it's important to keep that grit and those sand scratches all straight and in one direction. Very happy with this side, and the bluing will only make it look better. So this receiver's done, the barrel's done. I'm going to go ahead and polish all these other parts and get it ready to go in the bluing tank. But before that, I'm going to wrap this video up and see if I can't get it out to you tonight. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all the subscribers we have and all the support. Keep them coming. Thank you. Hey guys. Hi Rosie. Hi Ollie.